Okay, well, First Lady Chirlane, thanks so much for being here. Our Urban Town, as you know, is a newsletter that we distribute here in Staten Island on the North Shore, focusing on North Shore issues. And we're really privileged to have you come here and talk to us a little bit. A lot of the things that you've been doing have been affected our community greatly. And this is Naful.
Naful, definitely. It's a pleasure to have you. And once again, I thank you for being with us today. I'd like to begin off by our first question. We believe that what you are doing is revolutionary and is truly great. It's helped the LGBT community greatly. Can you tell us how Thrive initiatives will impact youth in their schools, particularly the LGBTQ youth?
Well, as you know, the LGBTQ community is so important to this administration, and you see that reflected in who we've hired and the kind of people that we go out and have these kind of conversations with, because we want to make sure that we're doing all that we can. LGBTQ youth are bullied more often in schools than other youth, like twice as much. And we know that 8% of our young people report attempting suicide. And 8% is a very large percentage. It's like almost 1 in 10. And we know that they're twice as likely to, they're more likely to attempt suicide as well, twice as likely. So this is something we have to address. I mean, it's so important for us to raise awareness, make sure our teachers understand the signs and symptoms that a young person is troubled. That's why we're training our teachers in social emotional learning. And that is why we have mental health consultants for all of our schools now to serve as a resource for our teachers and for principals, and to also, most importantly, assess and evaluate the schools to determine what they need going forward, because no two schools in New York City are alike. You cannot it's not a cookie cutter approach that we can take. So those are some of the things we're doing. Of course, my husband signed an executive order saying that, bathroom access is for, you determine where you want to go. And we stand strong on that issue. And there are many things that we are in the process of doing to make sure that the LGBTQ community knows about everything we're doing that can affect them in a positive way. There's so many, there's no area of life, right? Employment, education, health, you name it, with that there are needs, and where we are doing what we can to make sure that the community gets the services that are needed.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's awesome.
And one more question we had you were probably the First Lady of New York to outwardly recognize the LGBTQ community. This has helped our whole city to follow what you lead. What are some of the further things you need to do in New York City to deal with harassment of the LGBTQ youth, especially in schools and in their communities?
The LGBTQ community, I always have so much trouble saying all those initials, I'm sorry. But it is so important for me personally because, when I came to New York back in 1977, I know it was a long time ago, but it was my first community, it was my first family, and so I feel that, I feel very personal about it, and I feel very personal about what we should be doing. It's very close to me. So your question is about what we should be doing in the schools?
Yes, and what policies that we can enact to address these issues in schools of harassment towards LGBTQ youth.
Well, the DOE has established a liaison to the gay community. We have liaisons in every school, and that is extremely important. And we have to do more to raise awareness. I think that's I'm a big fan of the Respect for All campaign, and which is all inclusive. But I think that's a good umbrella for us to help young people understand how to respect one another, how to treat one another, what is hurtful. you know, sometimes people say things and they don't even know that it's actually hurtful because it's something they hear at home or they hear on the street, and so these are the things we have to teach young people, and we have to help them teach their parents because it all comes from somewhere, right?
Very right.
So I think that we're headed in the right direction. You know, New York City has received the Human Rights Award. We've got like one of the best scores you can possibly get, 116 out of 100.
Wow.
In the area of gay rights. So I know that we, you know, at least on paper, we're doing well, and we need to do much more in terms of implementing all of the things that we believe are right. It takes time because culture change is not something that happens overnight. We didn't get here overnight. It's not going to change overnight. But we've come, you know, I came to New York City in 1977. I'm like amazed at how much has happened. Of course we need to do more, but I see real progress, and I know that we're going to get to a really good place.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And your presence here on Staten Island and voicing the issues really helps, especially the North Shore, lift its numbers, lift its voice as it relates to mental health and other issues that normally we wouldn't get that kind of, attention. And we really appreciate that, you know, and you bringing that here.
Absolutely,
Well,
and
thank
you know,
you.
having graduated high school this past June of 2016, you know, I've been able to see how the progress has gone. And you know, in the summer of 2014, when you know gay marriage was officially legalized, many of my friends and people that I'm close to felt that it was victory. But we still have a long way to go, and I appreciate your presence and your hard work. As Reverend Jesse Jackson says, you know, change the world through the platform of America. Well, I'd say change the world through the platform of America, but through the heart of New York. So thank you for your work.
that.
It's truly a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks so much for being here. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.